people, we are Tottenham TV back here for yet another Tottenham update. We've got a few transfer rumours to talk about, and we've also been given the news on Dejan Kulusevski when he is going to return, so we'll get into that a bit later. But let's start off with a bit of transfer news, starting off with Richarlison, as Graham Bailey says that Everton would be interested in bringing Richarlison back to the club if he shows a willingness to do so. And I think that's one that kind of makes sense. You're looking at Everton with new owners, might have a bit of money to play with. And obviously Richarlison is a massive fan favourite there. I think this could be a good match.
I agree. And maybe he wants to go somewhere where he's loved again, where he's the main man again at Tottenham. Obviously, after the big money move, it just hasn't kind of worked. He's had a lot of time on the injury table. When he's been on the pitch, he's been good by and large. But obviously, in the first season, he was terrible when he was on the pitch. But in the second and third season, and this season, when he's played well. But we just haven't seen it anywhere near enough. And I don't think he's been that good to justify kind of not needing an upgrade when we can basically sell him. So I think Everton would be a good match. I think it's also one of the other clubs where, as you say, he's a fan favourite. So I think other clubs may be a bit hesitant to stump up decent money for him, but maybe Everton wouldn't because of that kind of stature he has among the fan base. And I think they need a striker. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin and Beto have done well in recent weeks, but I think Richarlison will obviously take that up a notch, and he'd be a really good player for them.
Calvert-Lewin's contract's up at the end of the season.
And that as well. So if he doesn't sign one, then you got Richarlison to replace him. I think that would be good. It's just whether Richy would go back there. That's the question.
I think he would. If Spurs show that they really want to move him on and they're looking for targets to come in and replace him and stuff like that, I don't think really there's anywhere else in the Premier League that he could, if he wants to stay in the Premier League.
Yeah, I just feel like for him, he would feel like to step backwards after getting that big move to Tottenham. But I guess it's going to be hard for him to not take a step backwards if he's going to move.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it is what it is. I think it's a deal that makes sense, and I think it's a deal that could potentially happen with the new money that's come into Everton on recent months with the new ownership and everything like that, moving into the new stadium next season. I think it's a good opportunity for Richarlison, and I think he goes back to an Everton in probably a better state than the one that he left.
That's for sure. It'll be interesting, though, what kind of fee they pay if we agree a deal with Everton. And if they can keep him fit, they could be getting a good deal. Let's say we sell him for like 30 million or 35 million. If they can keep him fit, that's probably actually a good deal.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that would be the price point, between 30 and 40 million, around that figure. So that's Richarlison. We've got a couple of stories around Tyler Dibbling and Adam Wharton. First publication is transfers.com. Don't think they're the most reliable. I'm not too sure, to be honest, but they say that Tottenham are continuing their aggressive push for young talent, with Tyler Dibbling and Adam Wharton emerging as key targets for the summer. Discussions have already taken place, with Spurs expected to push to secure both targets this summer. And TalkSport claim that Tottenham are leading the race to sign Tyler Dibbling this summer. Spurs explored Dibbling in January before being told the Saints weren't willing to sell despite his refusal to sign a new deal.
I would like both players, to be honest. I really like Wharton. Unfortunately, this season has been a bit disrupted by injury, but I think since he's come to Palace, he's shown he's definitely good enough for the Premier League. Obviously, he was at the Euros with England, didn't play too much, but I think the fact he got called up shows how much the English setup trust him, and I think he'd be perfect for that 6 role. I really do. I think he's got unbelievable passing ability, but he's also really good defensively. I think his awareness around the pitch is fantastic, and he's only getting better, and he's still so young. It's such a shame we missed the boat signing him from Blackburn, because we should have really pushed the button on that one.
We were linked with him at the time.
We were heavily, and Palace stole a march and obviously promised him the game time. Palace have got a really good track record of developing Championship talent and making them really good Premier League players, and they obviously sold that to Wharton, and he, in fairness to him, it's been a really great move. Whether he moves in the summer, I think he gives it another year. I don't know if they'll sell him in the summer, to be honest. I think it's going to take big money to get him out of there. So I think they keep hold of him, and I don't think he's going to be in any rush. He's still young. He's, his first full season in the Premier League's been disrupted by injury, so I don't see why he should be in a rush to get that big move where, if he develops a Palace a bit more, I think there'll be more clubs after him. So,
and he's also at a club that's kind of growing at the moment underneath a great manager in Glasner. They're going from strength to strength. They obviously had a really strong end to the season last year. Took a bit of time to get into the season this year, but they are back. They're showing, since the turn of their form, they're showing top 4 form right now.
Yeah.
And it's been for a while. So if I was Adam Wharton, I agree with you, I'd bide my time And he's 21 years of age. You know, he's got a whole career ahead of him, and he needs to get consistent minutes now, and that's the main thing. And I think at Crystal Palace he's doing that. But I do think Dibbling is one that Spurs could potentially attain in the summer.
Definitely, and I think he also fits the bill in the sense that he's a right winger, can cut in on his left foot. We don't have one of those. He's very good at dribbling, very broad shoulders. He adds also a kind of different kind of profile that we don't have in a way, because you've got people like Odobert, who's very nimbly and very kind of quick on the ground, but then we don't have a very kind of strong, broad kind of winger. All our wingers are physically not the strongest. And I think having someone like Dibbling, who's got that pace and that physicality, would be a real asset. Obviously, he is not 19 or 18, so he's very young, but I think he's a star in the making. I thought he, in a really badly struggling Southampton side, has done brilliantly.
Yeah, 19 years of age, just turned 19. Though, you do look at it, if we do sign Dibbling this summer, you would probably think that he is the kind of only winger that we will bring in the summer. Myself and a lot of people saying, you know, we need experienced players there now to sprinkle around with the teenagers and the young players that we have brought in. Is it too much in terms of the teenagers being brought in? If we do bring in Dibbling, having Johnson and Dibbling to fight out that right wing spot, is it good enough where we want to go?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think if we want to really be challenging for league titles and stuff next season and really pushing ourselves to that limit, probably not. But in terms of long-term vision of the squad, I think it could be. I think having Dibbling, Odobert really growing, obviously got to replace Son at some point, Mikey Moore there. That's some of the best talents out wide you could dream of, to be honest. So that would be really exciting, and you'd want to see them grow. And I think all of them could have unbelievable futures. I really do. But if you're expecting them to lead a title charge next year, then yeah, it's not good enough.
Do you think it's good enough to get into the top four?
Potentially. I think obviously give Son another year. You've still got Brennan there. I think is it good enough to get in the top four? It's hard to say with those kind of wingers. But I think profile-wise, they're much a better fit than what we've had a lot of the season, where it's been Son and Decky and Johnson out wide, and all of a sudden you add in Odobert, you put Moore, who's going to be a year older, you put Dibbling in there. I think you'd be surprised how good they can be, I think.
So it is.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I think potentially I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't say definitely no. I wouldn't say that is not good enough for top four. No, I wouldn't say you make yourself favourites, but I would say if I think you've got a decent chance. Like, I think obviously if you add in an unbelievable talent like who's ready now, then you make yourself more favourite that position. But I think we compete for top four. Let's say I think with those options.
And last but not least, Paul O'Keefe has given us a timescale of when we can expect Dejan Kulusevski back in the squad, and he says the likely timeline is to return after the international break. So obviously we heard he's out for the next 2 games, and the international break, we've got 4 games before the international break, so it looks like he's going to be out for the next 4 games. Yeah, which is not great news, but hopefully he gets a break, and if he doesn't go on international duty, which I'm hoping if he's injured until then he won't do, then he'll have another couple weeks break on top of that as well. So I think that'll be a rest that's badly needed for him, and maybe he comes back from the international break really refreshed and playing like he did, earlier on in the season, which if we have that Decky for the latter stages of the Europa League knockouts, that's a really great prospect to have. So it's not great news. I do think we can cope without him, of course. I think he was our main player, but obviously playing's coming back, and Maddison in decent form, and Brennan now back. I think we've got players who can cope. Obviously, he adds a different kind of skill set that we don't really have in the squad, but with Bergval's emergence as well, which wasn't there near the beginning of the season, I do think we've got the players to get by without him, and we should be able to get through his RZ tie, and that's all that matters really. And once he's back, hopefully he'll be refreshed. Yeah, you're looking at it right now, when the international break comes after the Fulham game. The Fulham game is the 16th of March. The Chelsea game is the 3rd of April. So there's a 2.5 week break right now on the fixture list from Fulham to Chelsea. I think there's a Europa League game that should be scheduled in before that Chelsea game, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, you're talking about a hell of a long rest for Decky, even if he's back after that international break, which, he really should come back after the international break for the next round of Europa League fixtures, for the next round of Premier League games, really invigorated. Yeah, and which is when in April? The Chelsea game's the 3rd of April. Yeah, so basically a month out. He'll get a month break. Yeah, but we're saying there should be a Europa League before then.
Okay, but yeah, pretty much near enough a month.
Yeah.
Which I think, if he's coming to the end of that injury as well, come just before the start of the international break, and he doesn't go on international duty, that would be perfect.
Yeah. So that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories we brought to you today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,